Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in 2nd Esdras chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, which is what the true men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, are doing, by watching the news and reading the scriptures and filtering the news through the scriptures to go out onto the highways and byways to preach this word, as well as put up video epistles like this to not only tell the hopeful elect of the terrible times to come, of Jacob's trouble, and what to do to stay in the good graces of their power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, but also tell 2/3 of the nation of Israel who are hard-headed and refuse to return under their power, as well as you heathen nations, of the judgments to come for your wickedness during Jacob's trouble. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, and judge the people on it for their wickedness. Verse 3, Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, which are happening damn near daily all across the planet in diverse places, and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And if you have that spiritual eye salve, you can clearly see that the end time signs, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ, told his disciples to look for before his second coming, and the end of this current age of the heathens is happening right before us. And verse 3 gives an example of some of those signs to look for before Yahweh Shai's second coming. The earthquakes in diverse places and uproars of the people in the world, which is what I'll be dealing with in this video, with an article on RT.com titled, Blind Destructive Rage, at least 93 police officers injured, more than 350 protesters arrested during chaotic May Day in Berlin, uproars of the people in the world. And really since 2019, you've seen an uptick of people in an uproar and protesting against their governments all across the planet. You've had the Yellow Vest protests in France. You had anti-government protests in Central and South America. There were the George Floyd protests in the United States of America. You had the Kill the Bill protests in the UK, protests in Hong Kong, protests in Iraq, Lebanon, and Sweden. And hey, protests have been going on even with C-19 lockdown measures put in place. And as we get closer and closer to Yahweh Shai's second coming, these protests are only going to increase and get more violent. Blind destructive rage, at least 93 police officers injured, more than 350 protesters arrested during chaotic May Day in Berlin. May Day celebrations in Germany's capital devolved into rioting, with burning barricades and scuffles between protesters and police. Nearly 100 officers were injured in the skirmishes, local security officials said on Sunday. Berlin saw over 20 various demonstrations held by various political movements to mark Labor Day on Saturday. While most were peaceful, some descended into violence, with the left-wing revolutionary May 1st protests turning out to be particularly chaotic. The march, which is held annually in the neighborhoods of Neukölln and Kreuzberg, has a long history of violence and rioting. This year, the rally registered as an event for 1,000 participants due to the C-19 situation. Nevertheless, some 8,000 marchers showed up for the protests that soon saw clashes with the police. Here's a clip of some of those clashes. Germany, chaos hits streets of Berlin as thousands join revolutionary, it probably says revolutionary May 1st protest. And real quick, while the average bird brain American is usually last to the party, protests like this will happen in the United States of America. You got a little teaser of it last summer, but it's going to be even worse this time because you've got a lot of factors that are coming into play that are going to really affect people's lives. Talks of mega droughts leading to crop failures, talks of water shortages in the western half of the United States of America, talks of food shortages, such as chicken shortages and other items, talks of hyperinflation making things that much more expensive, talks of gas shortages during the summer. The list goes on and on. Like the economist Gerald Celente always says, when people have nothing to lose, they lose it. How do you think these people are going to react that have always been pampered their entire lives in the United States of America when there's water shortages, food shortages, gas shortages, and hyperinflation, where things are so expensive that they can't afford it and they get kicked out of their houses? It's going to be hell to tell the captain on the streets of the United States of America. And also, we got a little glimpse of how animalistic these people are going to be during those first lockdown measures. You saw people fighting over toilet paper and stabbing each other over the last case of water. when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. Violence against police officers and a blind, destructive rage has nothing to do with political protest, Berlin's Interior Minister Andreas Geisel said on Sunday. May 1st is a day of political diversity, and of course, freedom of expression and assembly apply even in times of pandemic. However, violence and incitement have no place in our society. Rowdy protesters chanted anti-police slogans, pelted officers with various objects, attempted to erect barricades in the streets, and set garbage bins and other objects on fire. According to the latest official figures, some 354 protesters were detained after the violence, while at least 93 police officers were injured in the skirmishes. The high number of injured officers makes me stunned. I wish all of those who were injured in the line of duty a quick recovery, Geisel stated. A massive police force has been deployed to contain the violence, and the rally was declared at around 9 p.m. local time. Berlin currently remains under a C-19-induced curfew that is enforced between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. The unrest in the streets, however, continued for several hours past the curfew. And as you saw in that clip, people were going after these police officers. And as it said here, rowdy protesters chanted anti-police slogans, pelted officers with various objects, and attempted to erect barricades in the streets, and set garbage bins on fire and other objects. And 93 officers were injured in the skirmish. And you're only going to continue to see people go against the government and the security forces and expect to see people get put to death. Because even before the situation happened, the C-19, people were getting upset with their governments and their failed measures they were pushing. And especially after the C-19 and the draconian lockdowns, people are getting even more fed up with their governments and the measures they were pushing. I'm going to close it out in 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men. And when you look up that word sedition, it means conduct or speech advocating rebellion against a ruling authority or monarch. Uproars of people in the world. Before the C-19, people being sick of the failed policies their governments were pushing. And after the C-19, with strict lockdown measures, people getting even more fed up with their government officials and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Your modern day kings and princes being these political figures like your mayors, governors, senators, prime ministers, presidents, etc., etc. And hey, as we get closer and closer to Yahushua's second coming, expect to see these modern day kings and princes and the security forces that uphold the system, like the police and the military, get put to death by these people. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power, point blank, period. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. As you can clearly see, all these end time signs that Yahushua Hamashiach said to look for before his second coming are beginning to take place as we speak. So now more than ever, we should have all 10 toes down in this truth, pushing this word as hard as we possibly can to make our calling and election sure and be saved from these destructive calamities of Jacob's trouble that are quickly coming our way. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala. And until next time, Shalom.